Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So, remember how I started a series about a couple weeks ago talking about mostly talking about women and how they're not listened? Well, today I think I'm gonna make that series a little bit more legitimate today. Look, I've heard every story in the book from women. Because they like to share stories with me. Now, look, what really angers me, is when someone tells their story of, when a woman tells their story of sexual assault, and a lot of people don't agree with what that person says. And that's what irritates me, because some of those stories are true. And then they go and nominate that guy or that man who sexually assaulted someone years and years and years ago to be part of the Supreme Court or be part of some bigger conspiracy out there. And that's not fair to the person who got sexually assaulted, whether it's a woman or it's a man. It could be either way. But that's not fair, and I guarantee you, a lot of women have told their stories over the course of the years. I've never personally done that to any woman, and I never will personally do that to any woman. Let's make that perfectly clear. I'm not in that same boat as some of these men who get away with something that's not good. And it happens every single day. And it just angers me to see that people get away with this thing when it's not okay to get away with. And I want to make this, I'm not Shane Dawson. I get that. He's been doing this series for 5 parts now. This is only my second part of doing this series. And I want to make it an 8-part series, just like his. I know I'm probably trying to take something from other YouTubers, but this is getting ridiculous to me that we live in a society right now who doesn't listen or respect or any of that stuff what women say. And a majority of the time, those women have experienced that. And they're not lying. And yet, when they say that, they don't get listened to. They don't get understood. This happens on a daily basis. There are men out there who are idiots. Flat out idiots. And I don't speak for all men, but I know for a fact that when I say this, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Men need to be held accountable for their actions. Whether it's raping someone, whether it's sexual assault, whether it's sexual harassment, something along those lines. They need to be held accountable. And in this day and age, none of them are being held accountable. Well, except for Bill Cosby, he got held accountable. But I mean, one case out of thousands of cases every day, someone sexually assaults someone. A man sexually assaults a woman. A man sexually harasses a woman. A man rapes a woman. And yet, none of the people, and like 1 out of every 2,500 or more cases each year, I'm not sure if these are exact truths or facts or whatever, but one case out of every so many cases gets looked at, and one person does go to jail for sexually harassing or sexual assault or rape or any of that thing, and we do absolutely nothing about it. They need to be listened, they need to be heard, and that person who did that crime needs to be put away for a while. In my books. Now, that doesn't mean everyone's going to agree with my opinion, but what I'm saying is women are just as important as men in this day and age. And they need to be heard, they need to be listened, they need to do whatever it takes to make sure that that man doesn't do this again. And I've said this earlier in the video, I would never, ever take advantage of a woman. Ever. In my entire life, I will never do that. And I never intend to do that. Ever. But when someone I know, or someone who you watch on YouTube, or a celebrity or a friend of yours has this and tells you their story, you need to listen to that woman and be there for that person. Not just listen, but be there and help them through their difficult time in life, whether they've been a victim of sexual assault, or victim of sexual harassment, or victim of rape, or something along those lines. You need to listen to them. That's what's important, is you need to listen to them and help them through that situation. Don't make it worse, and don't make it, try to make it better for every single woman out there who's going through this situation. That's what we all need to do as men, and not just attack women for something that's the truth. That's their truth. Their truth is their truth, and we need to be there for them no matter how hard that truth is. They need to be comfortable with talking to us, and us guys listening, not just going up to them and being all, weird and creepy and stalkerish and all those things. That's not what they need. They need a friend, a male friend, to listen to them, not to victimize them or destroy their persona. They need to be uplifted and be heard. That's the most important thing on this planet, is that they are heard on this topic that I'm talking about today. And they need to be understood and not be victimized or destroyed or any of those things on something that happened to them in their life that was terrible for them, that was traumatizing for them. That's what we all need to understand. And apparently no one does understand, because there's only one case that I've known, maybe there's been more, that the man who did this thing went to jail. Bill Cosby is the only case I've heard in the last 2 or 3 years that has actually been sent to prison for it. And that's just not fair to the women who've been attacked, the women who have been destroyed, their lives been destroyed by this thing, all of it. I think I'm done ranting on this topic, but there's going to be more series on these videos, or videos on this series, I should say. It just angers me that we live in a society where they're not listened to, they're not heard. Even though it may have been decades ago, or it may have been just yesterday, women need to be heard. That's all. You guys know the drill. Keep it real. Bye-bye.